On February 24, 2022, at approximately 5:30 a.m. local time, President Putin made an announcement regarding a special military operation aimed at demilitarizing and denazifying Ukraine. This statement indicated Russia's intention to take military action in Ukraine. Subsequently, at around 8 a.m., a group of 20 to 34 Russian helicopters arrived at Antonov Airport in Hostomel, a suburb of Kiev. The purpose of this arrival was to establish an air bridge near Kiev, allowing Russian troops and equipment to gather within a short distance of the capital city. The helicopter formation consisted of Mi-8 helicopters, which potentially transported several hundred Russian airborne troops, accompanied by Ka-52 attack helicopters for protection. The paratroopers were possibly from either the 11th Guards Air Assault Brigade or the 31st Guards Air Assault Brigade, or possibly both units were involved in the operation. This event marked a significant escalation in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, as it demonstrated Russia's intent to establish a military presence close to the Ukrainian capital. As the Russian helicopters approached the area from the Dnieper River, they encountered resistance from Ukrainian forces. The Ukrainians opened fire on the helicopters using small arms and manpads. In response, the Russian helicopters deployed flares to counter the incoming attacks. There were reports of several Mi-8 helicopters being hit and crashing into the water, while at least one Ka-52 helicopter was shot down, leading to the ejection of its two pilots. Additionally, Ukrainian MiG-29 fighter jets from the 40th Tactical Aviation Brigade intercepted the Russian helicopter formation. These jets reportedly shot down at least two more helicopters and disrupted the Russian air support intended to assist the landing operation. Upon reaching Hostomel, the Russian helicopters launched rocket attacks on the airport to pave the way for the airborne landing. The rockets targeted specific Ukrainian air defense positions at the airport, resulting in their destruction. Ukrainian officials later determined that a Russian intelligence operative had allegedly bribed an airport employee to reveal the positions of these defenses. While the rocket bombardment created a smoke screen and helped to conceal the landing, it did not significantly weaken the Ukrainian defenses in the area. After disembarking from the helicopters, the Russian airborne units initiated the capture of the airport. The Ukrainian defenders, consisting of approximately 300 personnel, were ill-equipped and included many conscripts with no prior combat experience. They could offer only limited resistance, although one Ukrainian National Guardsman named Suri Falatyuk managed to shoot down a Russian helicopter using a 9K-38 Igla missile, which reportedly boosted the morale of the conscripts. As the fighting escalated, the effectiveness of the Ukrainian air defenses improved. The helicopter carrying Russian commander Captain Ivan Boldyrev was hit and had to make an emergency landing. With the increasing number of Russian paratroopers landing and spreading out, the Ukrainian garrison became overwhelmed. As a result, the Russian forces successfully secured control of the airport. British CNN reporter Matthew Chance was able to capture footage of Russian soldiers securing the airport perimeter and attempted to obtain commentary from them. The success of the Russian forces in capturing the airport can be attributed to the element of surprise, as the Ukrainian military was caught off guard by the speed of the initial Russian attack, despite the preparations made after a warning from the CIA. The Russian paratroopers then began preparations for the arrival of 18 annihilation IL-76 strategic airlifters, which were expected to bring in fresh troops from Russia. Despite initially overcoming the resistance from Ukrainian forces, the Russian paratroopers continued to face opposition from local armed civilians and the 3rd Special Purpose Regiment. The Ukrainians also started bombarding the airport with heavy artillery fire. Ukrainian General Valery Zaluzny recognized the threat posed by the Russian presence at Hostomel and ordered the 72nd Mechanized Brigade, led by Colonel Alexander Vdovichenko, to organize a counterattack. At a crucial moment in the battle, the Ukrainian 4th Rapid Reaction Brigade of the National Guard launched a large-scale counterattack, supported by the Ukrainian Air Force. Since the Russian forces lacked armored vehicles, they heavily relied on air support to fend off the advancing Ukrainian troops. Witnesses observed 2 Russian Su-25 aircraft attacking Ukrainian positions. The surviving Ukrainian warplanes, which had endured the initial missile strikes from the Russians, also joined in providing air support for the National Guard units. These aircraft included at least 2 Su-24s and a MiG-29. The Ukrainians swiftly deployed additional troops to the airport to reinforce the counterattack. These reinforcements included the Georgian Legion and a unit from the Ukrainian Air Assault Forces. As the battle raged on, the Russian Il-76 transport aircraft carrying reinforcements were unable to land, potentially being forced to return to Russia. Ukrainian military units successfully surrounded the airport and managed to push back the Russian forces by the evening of the battle. This forced the remaining Russian airborne troops to retreat to the nearby forests outside the airport. According to Mamuka Mamulashvili, the commander of the Georgian Legion, his men ran out of ammunition during the battle. In a desperate move, he allegedly used his car to run over retreating Russian paratroopers. The 4th Rapid Reaction Brigade later posted an image on their Facebook page, showing their soldiers celebrating the victory while holding a Ukrainian flag that was riddled with bullet holes. During the initial phase of the battle, the Antonov An-225 Mriya, the world's largest airplane, was present at the airport. An Antonov pilot initially confirmed that the aircraft remained intact despite the ongoing fighting. However, on February 27, a press release by Ukroboronprom, a Ukrainian defense industry conglomerate, claimed that the Mriya had been destroyed in a Russian airstrike. Subsequently, on March 4, the Russian state-owned television channel Channel 1 Russia aired footage revealing the destruction of the Mriya. On February 25, 2022, Russian mechanized ground forces from Belarus, combined with another air assault by the Russian VDV, successfully took control of the airport after partially breaking through the Ukrainian defenses in the Battle of Ivankiv. Some of the armored vehicles were ambushed before reaching Hostomel, causing a temporary halt in reinforcements. However, the Russian forces managed to enter the airport and assist in expelling the Ukrainian defenders. The Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that the capture of the airport involved approximately 200 helicopters and announced about 200 Ukrainian casualties with no reported casualties on the Russian side. However, this claim was met with skepticism, as journalist Timur Levsky, who witnessed the battle, refuted the Russian casualty figures. Nonetheless, the Russian ground forces established a foothold in Hostomel and began manning checkpoints within the town. There were speculations that the Ukrainian defenders may have sabotaged the runway prior to the arrival of the Russian ground forces. Initially, the Ukrainian Ministry of Internal Affairs denied that the airport had been fully captured by the Russian forces, stating that it was changing hands and that the battle was still ongoing. The ministry also strongly refuted the Russian claim of significant Ukrainian casualties as an absolute lie. The Ukrainian Ministry of Defense declared that the airport's runway was too severely damaged to be used by Russian troops. However, later in the day, Ukraine confirmed that Russian forces were in control of the airport.